Hello, today I'm going to discuss with you our RTI processes here at Mount Zion High School, as well as the development and implementation of Focus Period. Let's discuss Focus Period first. First of all, Focus Period was an idea that started to emerge about 4 years ago. There was a committee of teachers and administrators that went to a conference and were really focusing in on the fact that we weren't necessarily meeting the needs of our underperforming general education students. And so at this conference, we explored different ideas and looked at what other schools were doing and tried to see how we could make that fit into what Mount Zion needed. Out of those discussions became this plan for Focus Period, as well as the development of a position called the academic liaison, which I am currently in that position. Focus Period became this extra time at the end of the day where students that were needing intervention could go get help. But it also became very important to us that the students who didn't need help, which was approximately 80 to 90% of our population, not just be given a study hall and lose instructional time. Instead, we wanted there to be enrichment for these students. And that became very important to us, that they should be still growing as students and growing as learners. So the first thing that we implemented was an idea of check in and out. This occurs on Wednesdays. So that really is the only day of the week that Focus Period can be a study hall, because there's a lot going on Wednesdays. It's check in and check out day. It is also the day that we host activity periods. Activity periods are a time where clubs can have their initial club meeting, where teams can have their initial meeting with players to get them information or to recruit them. If a club is planning a major event, a lot of times they'll use that activity period time to touch base with their members. So that process, if you want more information about the activity period process, you can come talk to me. The check-in and check-out process, there is a form that you can use. If you choose to use this form, please make a copy of it, but you can see it's pretty self-explanatory. It has them record a lot of their different grades. It also has them record any concerns that they might have. And then also we collected where they were going for activity period. So it was just a way to keep track of them. And you can access that form through this link right here. So we do ask that you look at your students' responses on those forms. And if you have concerns about your parents, come talk to me, your students, come talk to me, come talk to their counselors. Make sure that you're developing relationships with those students. We do give a grade to Focus Period. Now, it is not a traditional ABC grade. It is satisfactory, unsatisfactory. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they should be getting 3 points a day. If they do nothing, they get 0 points. So that becomes 12 points a week. We do not give them points on Wednesdays, since it's check-in and check-out day. They have to earn at least 70% of the points to be considered satisfactory. So what did we see when we made this change? So this is our data that we've collected since 2015. The blue line is before we had these changes in place. And you're going to see that there is a huge spike second semester that year of kids on our weekly eligibility report, as well as D's and F's. And that was kind of the pattern that we're used to seeing. Things kind of were okay first semester. And then when you'd hit that third quarter slump, things would not be okay at all. And we had students that were struggling. And so the red line is the first year that we made these changes. You can see that really first semester of that year, we didn't actually see that big of a change in our students' progress. We did have a very large freshman class that year, so I do think that that's partially why you actually do see even a spike in the numbers. But then second semester, we saw something really interesting happen. And what we saw happen is we didn't have the big change between semesters. We were able to keep that weekly eligibility report kind of at the same levels that we saw first semester, and we were also able to keep the D's and F's down. Then you'll see a green line. Unfortunately, I don't have that data for the weekly eligibility reports due to the way that it was being reported. Our guidance secretary was out at that point. Some of the reports looked a little different, but you can see the second semester data I have there. We saw even a little more success than we saw in 16-17. And then finally, the purple line is last year, and we were seeing even more success last year. Unfortunately, I don't have the data for second semester due to we had had an issue with our Skyward where we were locked out of some of our data. And so our grades for 40% of third quarter were not accessible to us. So we had to give all the students for third quarter a 40%, 100, a score of 100 for 40% of the quarter, which really skewed our data. So if I included the data, we'd look great, but it wouldn't really be accurate. So obviously, you can see just by these graphs that this has definitely made an impact on our school. One thing that I also should note that on the DF1, we saw significantly less Fs we moved some of those Fs to Ds, so you don't see as big of a change there, but we saw significantly less Fs. What we also saw as positives for this is students are building relationships with teachers, specifically those students who struggle. Before now, they might just float in the back of the classroom and not really have that much contact with their teachers. But now they go somewhere at the end of the day where they're in a small group setting and there's a teacher who knows them, who knows what their goals are, who knows what their grades are, and is making them check. We also like the fact that we could push in information to our students. Our counseling office could, and a variety of other situations could, where we're pushing information out that normally we would interrupt the academic day to give them that information. Now we could do it during focus period. And then last, we did also like that activity periods no longer took time away from the academic classes, because we used to have activity periods the last 15 minutes of every hour on Friday. And that was difficult as a teacher sometimes to plan what you were going to do, because you would lose large chunks of your class to the activity period. I'm going to stop this video here and start up another one due to time constraints of my recording software.